In the intricate dance of global commerce, every link in the chain matters. Behind the scenes, a vast network of suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors keeps the world running smoothly, often unnoticed by the billions who rely on it every day. Yet few components are as critical as the semiconductor. These chips are the invisible engines driving our digital age, quietly embedded in nearly every device we use. These tiny silicon marvels power everything from smartphones to advanced military hardware. Without them, modern life as we know it would grind to a halt, affecting industries from healthcare to transportation. For years, their production flowed across borders in a stable network, until autumn 2025, when a single disruption sent shockwaves through the entire system. A simmering conflict between the Netherlands and China erupted over Nexperia, a Dutch chipmaker at the heart of global supply. What began as a trade disagreement quickly escalated into a geopolitical standoff. This wasn't just a corporate dispute, it triggered a global economic crisis, exposing the fragility of our supply chains. Suddenly shelves emptied, factories stalled, and markets reeled. The Dutch government's intervention and Beijing's swift response set a precedent in the escalating tech Cold War, with both sides unwilling to back down. The car you drive, the phone you use, and the global economy's stability are all tied to this dispute. Even the smallest chip shortage can ripple out, impacting millions of lives. The events of late 2025 showed how quickly government action can spiral into worldwide shortages, leaving businesses and consumers scrambling for solutions. As of January 2026, the situation remains fluid, a high-stakes chess match with no clear endgame in sight, and every move watched by the world's leaders. The Nexperia saga forces us to confront tough questions about globalization, security, and economic prosperity. How much risk are we willing to accept for the sake of efficiency? The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. What happens next will shape the future of technology, trade, and the very fabric of our interconnected world. Nexperia, once a quiet giant in the world of semiconductors, is headquartered in Nijmegen, Netherlands, where its story began decades ago as a key player in the European tech landscape. The company specializes in essential automotive chips, powering everything from electric vehicles to advanced driver assistance systems, making it a crucial supplier for the automotive industry. Its components are the backbone of countless devices, not just in cars but also in consumer electronics and industrial equipment, especially across Europe, where reliability is paramount. In 2019, Nexperia was acquired by China's Wingtech Technology. Dutch authorities approved the deal, but only with strict conditions. Nexperia's core knowledge and intellectual property had to remain protected within the Netherlands. For a while, this arrangement seemed to work, allowing Nexperia to operate as usual. But as global politics shifted, the company found itself in increasingly turbulent waters. The US began viewing China's rapid technological rise as a strategic threat, responding with tariffs, export controls, and blacklists targeting Chinese tech firms. In December 2024, Wingtech was officially blacklisted by the US government, complicating Nexperia's position and raising new questions about its future. Now, a Dutch company found itself owned by a blacklisted Chinese entity, sparking fears of sensitive technology transfer and the potential loss of European know-how. Nexperia's business model, manufacturing chips in Europe and packaging them in China, was suddenly seen as a vulnerability, not just an efficiency, in the eyes of regulators. The Netherlands faced mounting pressure from its allies, especially the US and UK, while domestic unease grew over the security of its technology sector. Concerns mounted that legal safeguards and government oversight might not be enough to prevent critical knowledge and trade secrets from flowing eastward. The stage was set for a major confrontation, with Nexperia caught in the crossfire of a global power struggle over technology, security, and economic influence. The company's fate became a symbol of the new era of tech-driven geopolitics where every chip and every decision could tip the balance of power. As the world watched, everyone braced for what would come next in this unfolding high-stakes drama. On September 30, 2025, the Dutch government stunned the world by seizing temporary control of Nexperia under emergency powers. The goal halt the perceived transfer of critical chip knowledge to China. The intervention severed operational links between Nexperia's Dutch HQ and its Chinese parent, Wingtech. The Dutch state removed Nexperia's CEO, further tightening control. This move split the company, creating a Dutch-controlled European entity and a Chinese-controlled division. Wingtech called it a violation of investor rights, blaming US pressure. The Dutch government insisted it was protecting national and allied security. The legal and diplomatic fallout was immediate and intense. The world saw a new front open in the tech Cold War. The battle lines were drawn, across boardrooms and governments alike. China's response to the Dutch seizure was swift and devastating. Beijing imposed export restrictions on Nexperia products from China, weaponizing the company's own supply chain. European automakers reliant on Nexperia chips faced immediate shortages. Assembly lines threatened to shut down within days, exposing the vulnerability of just-in-time manufacturing. The crisis rippled through the entire automotive ecosystem, threatening jobs and billions in revenue. China's message was clear: it could and would leverage its position in global value chains. The EU and China called for company-level resolution, but this was a state-to-state confrontation. The chip shortage of 2025 became a symbol of the risks in a fragmented world. The automotive industry was caught in the crossfire of geopolitics. The fallout forced a reckoning with supply chain dependencies. The world realized how fragile modern industry had become. Wingtech didn't just protest, it launched a full-scale legal war, signaling its determination to fight back with every tool at its disposal. The company's leadership quickly mobilized legal teams and international advisors, preparing for a high-stakes confrontation that would reverberate far beyond boardrooms. On October 15, 2025, Wingtech formally notified Dutch ministries of its intent to seek a staggering $8 billion in damages, sending shockwaves through both political and business circles in the Netherlands. The claim was based on lost investment value, projected profits, and severe operational disruption, with Wingtech arguing that the Dutch government's actions had caused irreparable harm to its global business interests. Wingtech's case rests on a bilateral investment treaty, arguing the Dutch seizure violated international protections for foreign investors and undermined the trust that underpins cross-border business. A 6-month negotiation window began, with the looming threat of escalation to international arbitration at the World Bank's ICSID, a venue known for its high-profile investment disputes. If unresolved by April 2026, the dispute could set a global precedent for how national security exceptions are interpreted in investment law, potentially reshaping the rules for years to come. The financial risk for Dutch taxpayers is enormous, with billions potentially at stake, and public concern mounting over the possible impact on national finances. The Netherlands' reputation as a business-friendly country is on the line, as global investors watch closely to see if the nation will honor its commitments or retreat under political pressure. A protracted legal battle could deter future foreign investment, making companies wary of putting down roots in the Netherlands and potentially shifting capital elsewhere. Wingtech's legal gambit is designed to force the Dutch government back to the negotiating table, leveraging international law to gain an upper hand and protect its interests. The world is watching closely, eager to see just how far a state can go in the name of security before it risks alienating global investors and partners. The stakes are as much about legal precedent and the future of international investment as they are about money. This case could redefine the boundaries of global business. The Dutch intervention split Nexperia in two: European operations under Dutch control, Chinese facilities under Wingtech. The seamless business model was shattered, forcing both sides to become self-sufficient. Nexperia's China arm quickly secured domestic wafer supplies, aiming for full independence. Both divisions began duplicating investments, creating inefficiencies and new competition. The split accelerated China's drive for semiconductor self-sufficiency. For Europe, it raised tough questions about industrial strategy and the cost of protecting intellectual property. The two halves of Nexperia are now rivals, each building capabilities the other once provided. The crisis has redrawn the global semiconductor map. The forced divide may have created a new, formidable Chinese competitor. The long-term consequences for global tech competition are only beginning to unfold. Experts from law, industry and geopolitics weighed in as the Nexperia crisis deepened. Trade law professor Stefan Hindelang noted, Wingtech had grounds for arbitration, but outcomes are uncertain due to national security clauses. ASML CEO Christophe Fouquet warned that aggressive state actions could unravel the global chip ecosystem, leading to protectionism and higher costs. Industry leaders stressed the need for dialogue, not confrontation. Wingtech's chairwoman, Ruby Yang Mu, argued the split would harm competitiveness and create inefficiencies. The core conflict: business logic versus national security. Legal experts see uncertain paths for both sides. Industry fears a dangerous precedent. The consensus, the Nexperia case, marks a turning point in global business. Geopolitical tensions are reshaping international commerce. The world is being forced to rethink the risks of economic interdependence. The Nexperia dispute quickly escalated into a diplomatic crisis between the Netherlands and China. Beijing condemned the Dutch seizure as hostile, demanding a reversal and applying intense diplomatic pressure. In retaliation, Chinese media published names of alleged Dutch intelligence officers, a rare and aggressive move. The EU, caught in the middle, urged restraint but faced renewed debate about de-risking ties with China. The crisis exposed Europe's vulnerability to economic coercion. In November 2025, the Dutch government eased its intervention after China partially lifted export bans, but the legal framework remains. Trust between the Netherlands and China has been severely eroded. The Nexperia affair is now a symbol of a new, confrontational era in global relations. Economic partnerships can be sacrificed overnight in the name of national security. As 2026 unfolds, the Nexperia saga is far from over. April marks the end of the negotiation window for Wingtech's $8 billion claim. If unresolved, a landmark arbitration will follow. The outcome will set a precedent for balancing investment protection and national security. The forced split is accelerating China's tech self-sufficiency and Europe's push for supply chain resilience. Ironically, efforts to prevent technology transfer may have created a stronger Chinese competitor. Legal battles continue in Dutch courts and at the international level. The conflict is a defining moment in 21st century power competition. Nexperia's story exposes the fault lines of globalization and the weaponization of economic interdependence. The final outcome is unwritten, but the world is changing fast. The battle for Nexperia is a dispatch from the front lines of our technological and geopolitical future.